So Chiang Mai is like a square, and there's like this old brick wall, different sections of it that makes a square, and there's a moat that goes around the entire city, which is kind of cool because it shows you like this used to be like a fortress at some point, but now it's like a modern city now. There's a Thai boxing stadium. So yesterday I walked around the whole thing. It took me about an hour, and it was really cool. So I thought maybe I'll attempt it again, even though the heat starts to get to you. So I got some sun yesterday doing it. Today I wore a t-shirt just in case. Part of the reason yesterday I went on the walk was just because yeah, we've been doing a lot of Muay Thai, and anyway, I was sparring with my friend the night before, and I accidentally hurt him, and he seemed pretty upset about it, which he has the right to be. So I'm just in one of those situations where I'm like, well, yeah, I fucked up, I'm sorry. And we've talked about this before. Like I'm the one that's always like sparring, you can get carried away easily and not realize it's getting carried away until somebody gets hurt, right? And it's because at the end of the day, like, it's fun and your adrenaline's flowing and you're just like you're having fun until you're not having fun, and it's easy to get carried away, like I said. And but I think it's a good opportunity to talk about like tempo, and which doesn't necessarily get discussed a whole lot. So like when you're learning to spar and stuff, the tempo's set right away, and basically you're locked into that tempo until the round's over. It's kind of what happens. I've observed this in myself and others, and that's why like the rules should be defined right away, and like you should try to keep it as gentle and technical and playful as possible, because if one person sets the tempo unknowingly, then I gotta cross the road here, but it's hard to go backwards. So like you have to start, especially if you start slow and then it starts to pick up, at least you got room to pick up, you know. Whereas if you're starting really fast with a quick tempo and you're going fairly hard right off the get-go, there's really no room to go beyond that, if that makes any sense at all. So, and you usually don't realize you're going too hard until an accident happens, right? And it's inevitable, and it's bound to happen sometimes. And like I feel like my friend thinks that I did it on purpose, and it's like, no, not at all. But at the same time, like if you're just in a mode where which you get into, it's very fight or flight, obviously, right? So you have to understand that somebody's brain goes into a different state, right? And that's the state we're trying to avoid, because you're in a reaction mode, right? Like I said, you're in fight or flight mode, so you're basically reacting at that point. And if if things are starting to escalate, and like I said, it's also fun, people are enjoying it, it's like I don't know, it's an interesting endeavor, for the reason that like you're trying to simulate fighting as much as you can, all while trying to not underdo it, not overdo it. And you don't really know the line until you cross it. And it sucks because like it's hard for me. I didn't realize, like, first of all, people train differently. This is why I don't usually spar back at home. And it's like, because I learned all these lessons when I was younger. Like, it's also your responsibility to understand that like what you give out, you're going to receive. That's fundamental. That needs to be understood. So in that regard, that's why when I try to spar, I'm willing to meet you where you are. But at the same time, it's like, I would much rather establish the tempo and just start touching and keeping it playful. But as soon as somebody overdoes it, and it's not that you're blaming anybody, but it's just, you have to know what you're outputting. Everybody does, like myself included. And part of the reason that I did kick my friend, A, is because that's what you're supposed to do in Muay Thai, and B is because I thought he could handle it, right? I thought we were having a good, again, this is my perception and my perspective, but like, I thought we were having a good round, you know? Like, I like to fight, fuck, so like, it's hard for me to realize, oh shit, he's not enjoying this as much as I'm enjoying it. You know, and that's on me, and it's no excuse to be like, oh, I get into like a state, but like, we all get into that state, right? And that's why it's like, it's important to not go there, because once it goes there, it's really tough to come back. And that's why I'm trying to say, like, when you're sparring, keep it, you're just touching and you're just being playful. Like, you're gonna develop much faster, you're not gonna get hurt. So like, everybody needs to be mindful of like, look, if I hit this person, they're gonna hit me back, period, end of story. And just because they might hit me back where I don't like it, or they land something, it's like, that's your responsibility not to hit that person, right? And if you had to keep it playful from the get-go, you're not gonna poke the bear, right? And that's why I'm like, fuck, I don't know how to respond to like my friend asked me, was it deliberate? And I'm like, well, I didn't mean to hurt you. I thought, like, first of all, I wasn't throwing my hardest shots. That's just the truth. And I had to reflect on this. So this is the first corner. Bam. Like I said, it's a square, and then this is the moat. So, like, sorry I'm ranting and I'm venting, but like I said, when my friend asked me, was it deliberate? I meant to kick you, right? Like, that's the idea. I'm trying to score on you, and like, I think part of the reason my strikes might have been harder than I realized I was throwing them was because I wasn't necessarily accounting for his energy coming into my strikes, which are going to make it harder. So like that's why even when I did land them, I was like almost confused. I was like, that didn't feel very hard to me. And I've been throwing those kicks, but the thing I didn't account for, and he said it, and he has every right to be mad at me, because I forgot that like I'm bigger, and I know what it's like to spar bigger guys. Sometimes they don't know their strength, but that's why when I'm sparring bigger guys than me, like I'm fucking super mindful of that, because I learned those lessons early on. Like there are weight classes for a reason, right? But just because you're little doesn't mean you can't hang with the big guys. So like if you're gonna hit somebody, you better believe they're gonna hit you back, right? Because just because they're big doesn't mean they don't feel pain or they're not getting hit by you, right? So like that's why like there's no such thing as a fair fight. If you're gonna use your speed, the bigger guy's gonna use their power, and like that's what I'm saying. And it's unfortunate that like shit has to happen for us to realize it, right? But like we all make mistakes, we're all human, and like my intention is never to hurt my sparring partners, like, and he knows for sure. Like I've trained with him for a long time, and like we never even sparred the whole time. Like that's just something we do in Thailand, and they train different here. So like I'm also like in a new environment and stuff, and like that's how they train here. So like I feel like there's an expectation of like this is what we're supposed to be doing, but like yeah, I guess it's always harder to like not do something than just to carry on and not stop it, right? And not be like, hold on, this is not, we shouldn't be doing this, like let's yeah, so my intent wasn't to hurt him, but it's also it's respect to him, because I'm like, well fuck, if he's gonna hang with me, then like you also have to block, and like my job is to not hit you, right? And what I didn't realize was that because he's smaller, the durability is a lot, like he's just more fragile is not the word, but like he's just smaller, so like bigger guys can absorb my kicks, and I don't view them as like hard kicks, but everything's relative. So like just because the big guy doesn't show it and I'm not used to that, doesn't mean the little guy can take the same kick. So this is something I had to learn, and again, it's not intentional to hurt you, right? Or like to hurt my friend, but at the same time, like I'm trying to cross the road. So you can see the wall kind of goes through here. This is an interesting little part. these food carts are getting ready. There must be like a food market here later. So yeah, it's just this one of those things where like it happened. So I don't know what else like, I don't know, like I feel sorry at this, but at the same time it's like, it's over, it's spilt milk. So how do we learn from this, not repeat the same mistake? And the weird and funny part about this whole thing is that our other friend, also our mutual friend who we also train with, like excuse me, made the same mistake and kicked our friend in the ribs. And like, I made the joke of like, dude, you gotta start blocking those, because in my eyes, like, if you're gonna do it, you gotta do it, right? You don't have to do it, and I've expressed that every step of the way through. But you have to understand the game that you're playing, and that this isn't a game. The consequences are real, right? Like, accidents happen, and like, that ultimately is the end goal of what you're doing, fighting. So so yeah, it's unfortunate, but it's a good chance to like reflect, and makes me realize like that I don't like doing this as much as I used to, and I've known that for a long time. Like I like doing yoga and stuff because for A, I got nothing to prove, B, it's fucking painful. End of story. Even when it's not painful. So like, if you win a Muay Thai fight, you're still bruised, you're still banged up. So like, it's basically who's doing more damage, and that's the winner. So yeah, it's martial arts, and like there's a lot to be learned in martial arts. And the reason I keep doing it and stuff is because the lessons that I do learn, I'm not gonna learn anywhere else. And to me, I've discovered pain to be like a really great teacher, and you find out those lines of reality, and you're less likely to it just keeps you in check. It does a lot of things, and that's why it's just about balance. And when you lose balance, you crash, right? And I'm responsible for this, like, so it's hard for me to like, I'm sure he'll forgive me, and like we'll move forward. But at the same time, it sucks that I hurt my friend, and yeah. But a lot of people were getting hurt at the gym. Like, my toes are fucked. Everybody's toes are like dislocated and broken, and it's just regular shit. That's what happens. You know, everybody's bruised up and banged up. You know what I mean? So it's a choice to do what you're doing. Right? And it's also a choice to like be like, it's not for me, like, or modify it in a way that is for you. And that's what I've done over the years. It's like, I don't feel the need to spar unless I want to spar or fight, right? These are just levels. You're increasing the intensity and the level. So like, if it's what you want to do, you have to balance the consequences of that decision, right? So you don't have to roll the dice. You can walk away and do something different, right? Or like I said, modify it. So like, train at a lower intensity where like you're not going to risk injury. You don't have to spar. You should only spar if you want to fight, right? And you should only fight if you want to fight. If you want to, like, it's a burning desire of like, kill or be killed. You don't play this, right? It's not you don't play around. That's why I've said multiple times that if you're not about it, like, you fucking do yourself a favor and like let that go. Let that go, because I'm not about it. I know the consequences and I don't want to fuck with the consequences, you know. But there's, like I said, there's positives that that it adds value to my life, and these are the positives I'm trying to navigate. And when these situations arise, it just reminds me that like, we're playing with fire. You're playing with fire, so that needs to be respected, right? So that people don't get hurt. That's enough of that rant. I don't know how much battery I'm gonna have to like make it all the way around. So I'm probably about halfway. You can see the moat. This is really cool. I guess just to carry on about not being about it, like, and what positives have I taken from training? Like, you can train to strengthen your body, strengthen your mind, get a good workout, and not spar, right? It's not the full experience, and like, sparring is also not the full experience of fighting. Again, you don't have to go to each level. Everybody's path is different. Like, even if you do want to be a fighter, like, not every fighter is a champion, you know, and you just have to accept that. If you don't accept it, like, you're gonna find out that if you're not at that level, you're just not at that level. Don't fool yourself, and don't let go of the ego that wants to be undefeated, like, and think that you're untouchable, because it's not true. We're all human. Like, that's one thing I've learned here is like, they have a lot of fights. I gotta cross it. They all have like a shitload of fights, like in the hundreds, 300s, 400s. So like, they don't win all those, you know what I mean? And ultimately, like, if that's your life, you just want to survive your fight. because you got another fight in a week. You know, like in the West, it's like, oh, let's glorify, you get to fight 2 times a year if you're a professional fighter at the highest level, right? 2 times a year, that means you get 6 months to fucking recover and like obviously train, but like you have all that downtime. When you're a Thai fighter, you don't got that. You're fucking fighting for your paychecks weekly. So it's different, man. That's survival here. And to come from a comfort life and try to match what they do here, that's ignorant. You know, and this is something I know. I'm not trying to fool myself. And yeah, but these are just the lessons we have to learn. But survival, like when you're fighting, survival should be like the ultimate goal that you have, because that's what you're doing when you're fighting. Essentially, like you're trying to defend your life and protect yourself. So if you open yourself up in a fight to try to hurt somebody and you end up getting hurt, that's the action that you're experiencing, that consequence, right? And it's like, okay, why did you choose that? The ultimate accountability, right? Now if you're in a defensive mode and you're just trying to survive and get through and defend yourself, that's the mind, that's the state of like, you're gonna survive, live to fight another day, right? But we play with the rules and stuff, so you get knocked out and you're allowed to come back, right? But that knockout represents the game over, right? In jiu-jitsu, it's like you tap, you give up. In striking, it's the same thing. You can't rise to your feet to continue. Anyway, there's a cool Muay Thai gym that's coming up, so I'm just gonna go around this corner, save some battery. My rant's over. At the end of the day, I hope my friend's able to forgive me and we can learn from this. Ultimately, that's just my respect for him, and like, I thought he was doing fine when we were sparring. Again, I made the mistake of assuming he was good, right? And I also thought he could block, right? And it's like, once I discover he can't block, it's too late. It's already too late. It's like I fucking just learned the hard way with him. And I know it's like, oh, you're avoiding taking responsibility, but like, as I just explained, it's just how I was taught, right? So Thai gym is coming up. Let me look at the battery here. Look at this beautiful tree that overhangs the road. So yeah, my time is coming up in Chiang Mai. It's been such a full of so much experience and lessons. Like, I know I'm gonna look back on this, and the hardest lessons are the most important ones. So I'm learning. I don't have the answers, and that's why I'm just venting. Because yeah, it's I'm not perfect. Nobody's perfect, and that's when I've realized I've said what I had to say, is that I don't feel the need to blab on anymore. Life goes on, and like I said, once things happen, there's no undoing it. You can work through it, obviously, and make sure it never happens again. And but this is life, and the things we learn are usually like the most impactful on us. So that gym, I think, is coming up. All right, there's a bunch of dead space, so I'll just turn it back on at the gym. This is the third wall, I think. This is the gym right in here. There's a ring and everything right on the side of the road. So everybody just like, I mean, not everybody, but if you're training Muay Thai, it seems like people just train and then go eat, sleep. They're just here to train. So they bike there just casually and pop into one of these restaurants, and that's the tourist style of training, right? The Thai is there every single day, dawn till dusk. That's why I know the difference, and I respect the difference. I'm just a casual into fitness, health, feeling good, and I want to stay that way. That's why I keep it fitness oriented and like build my mind, my body, my spirit, right? But I don't need to prove myself in any way. Lately, like I've been enjoying walks and yoga as like my primary day-to-day feel-good activities. Like I do like the exertion of hitting pads and hitting the bag, you know, getting that form of a workout in. And that's for me, that's enough to like balance myself out. I like to spar. It's fun, but it's a risk. Like I said, I like jiu-jitsu for the same reason. Like I like the strategy and the playfulness of it, and it's important to train right. So but yeah, this is such a beautiful place, and that's ultimately like what I've learned to discover, is that there's so much beauty in the world. Why do we focus on the negatives and the violence and you can choose different and feel better for it, you know, and that's what I'm doing, trying to do. The physical side of things I find helps ground my mind, kind of tethers me to reality in a good way. So I've realized if I don't exert myself like that, I'm not at my full potential, and my mind is much easier to get away from itself. Like I've noticed this too. Like I find fighters really easy to be around a lot of times, and I think that's because they get it out. It's not there anymore to like, by it I just mean like it levels you out, so you're not out of touch with how real life is. Yeah, and all the endorphins and things that you experience are also very beneficial. So yeah, strong body, strong mind type thing. And the middle way, as I've learned in Buddhism, is like if you have a string for an instrument like a guitar, right? Like if the string is too slack, it won't play, and if the string is too tight, it's gonna snap, right? So getting it in tune and finding that perfect balance can take time, and you're gonna snap some strings and you're gonna play out of tune sometimes, especially when you're learning. So every mistake and every fall and every time you lose or you face a challenge, that's a great opportunity to learn, expand, grow, and evolve, because we're constantly changing day to day, and you don't realize it, but like you could be going in a good direction, or you could be going in a less than ideal direction. So I'm about 3/4 through this walk. I don't know if it's been entertaining or whatever, but so yeah, there's a couple other cool things that I want to show you along this walk, and they're just two temples. One is, I think, as old as the walls, it looks like. Has the same kind of like orangey red brick structure. And forgive me for not remembering the name, but it's like Wat, W-A-T something. So I'm gonna save the battery here and show you that up around this corner. Here's an example of how you'll see some of them driving like this. Especially in rural Thailand. I don't know if I got any of that on video, but like, you seen how high up he was on that corn mountain? Well, they drive like that up there. And they'll drive around without helmets too on their motorbikes. And see, look, it's just different. It's different here. So keeping a sense of humor about things, like needless to say, that's how they train Muay Thai here, and it's different. So I feel like I got caught up in all that, like we all did, and you know, fuck around, find out. We found out, learn what we had to learn, and hopefully we can all go on being friends and be able to laugh about this later on. First of all, I'm not the first one to do this, so our friend Jonesy he's the one that actually heard it. I just reheard it, as far as I'm concerned. So that's a tip to my side, at least. I might not have an argument. I could be totally at fault. And that's just something I have to deal with. Yeah, Jonesy, he's the one that hurt him first, so they're still cool, so I'm sure, yeah. My Thailand experience has been fucking phenomenal, though. I just really dig the culture here. So yeah, you could see, I was learning a little bit about the history too. Apparently, like, the Mongols tried to conquer, or they did conquer, I don't know. I don't think they did, though. I think this was like a fortress where so all of that and the moat and everything, this was like a That's why they call it Old City. It was a fortress, and they kept the peace for a long time. And I feel like that's ingrained in this culture in a way. Like in Muay Thai, they'll be playful at the same time they're like beating the fucking shit out of each other, you know? So like, what the fuck is that? But they're so cool and peaceful, and it's just such a contrast. So yeah, here comes the temple. I only got a bit of battery left, so I'm gonna turn this off real quick. So there's two temples, or maybe they're the same one, but separated by this moat. And I haven't seen the moat this dry yet. So this is one of them. This one has like the big Buddha. And then there's this one, the ancient one, which I don't know if they're related or not, but I'll quickly go in and show little aspects of it. I'm not gonna do a super deep tour because I kind of checked it out yesterday. Sometimes you gotta use these crosswalks, like, where you'll never cross. I've talked about it before, like, not all these have electric crosswalks, so like, sometimes you're just waiting for people to stop. save the last bit of battery for the other temple. I don't like talking too much in the temples because they're it's a sacred area for people, and I respect that. So don't want to be that guy. Okay, crossing the road. So just cross the road.
Alright, so this is the last
last leg of the square, I guess, the fourth corner, and where my hotel is. So that's it for battery and for recording space. So hope you enjoyed. Those temples are really awesome. It's just, I'm having like almost reminiscent of the last place I was. Like you're only there for a brief period of time, but like you get to know it for like that little time that you're there. And I'm starting to feel that here, and I know that in a blink of an eye this is all gonna be gone. And yeah, life is passing before your eyes, as they say. So adios, peace.